be unto the Almighty God, Jah Rastafari. Praises be unto the Almighty Himself.
Welcome to Jamaica Worldwide. And today, we look at the life, career, and passing of some of Reggae and Dancehall's legends who lost their lives in sudden and tragic circumstances.
Yellow tape. Forensic report.
Over the years, Jamaica's entertainment industry has been marred with the sudden and tragic deaths of some of its industry leaders. We are looking at people in the reggae and dancehall industry who died in sudden and tragic circumstances. This list will not include those who have died from illness or natural causes.
I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life, forever.
Also, see which artist people are still uncertain of the cause of death, even today. Anyway, people, before we get into it, give this video a like. And also, please remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be aware of when we post new videos. Capri.
I see myself as an international artist because, honestly speaking, I knew nothing really about dancehall growing up. I did just love how it sound, and I was in love with Patra and Lady Saw back in the day because they took it to that international level.
Jordan Phillips, aka J. Capri, was a promising young performer and, close to her passing, had 2 massive hit songs in the dancehall space. She was reportedly in a car crash in November of 2015. She was traveling in the Barbican area about 3 a.m. when the car she was driving was seen to have collided into a wall. Phillips was rushed to the University Hospital of West Indies. She was in an induced coma for a while, and there was even a public appeal for people to donate blood on her behalf. She, however, lost her life soon after. She was 23 years old. Fathead. Born Vernon Rainford, Fathead was a sound system DJ from Kingston, Jamaica, and although he is known for working with Yellowman, he was already an established DJ during the peak of Yellowman's popularity between 1980 and 82. Both men were a part of the Aces sound system crew and performed regularly at the Aces Disco in St. Thomas. They eventually recorded a live album called Live at Aces, which is known to be the first ever live dancehall album. The success of the album brought them to do the studio follow-up albums Bad Boy Skanking and For Your Eyes Only in 1982. In addition, they also had other collaborations with other artists. With Yellowman eventually concentrating on his solo material, Fathead went on to working with others, having a hit in 1983 with It's Me. The duo of Yellowman and Fathead were reunited in 1984 for The Showdown Volume 5 album, which was split between the duo and Purple Man. Unfortunately, on the 22nd of December 1988, Rainford was shot and killed in Florida, United States, and died instantly from his injuries. Captain Barkey.
Ninja, hey, I'm in a killing mood. Ninja man just look on my shoes. I'm in a killing mood. I'm in a killing mood. Look how the fool come get bad man road. I'm in a... You think I like a sticky situation we come out?
Wayne Hamilton, more popularly known as Captain Barkey, gained fame with the 1996 hit Go Go Wine. Captain Barkey died in New York, Bronx to be more precise. He was shot and killed in the parking lot of a motel along with a female companion. Captain Barkey, who was an ex-soldier, and the female companion by the name of Tracy Bennett were leaving the motel in a white Toyota Camry when the gunman sprinted out the darkness and shot them. The New York Police Department says the alleged gunman was Joseph Kermison, the 42-year-old father of 2 of Bennett's 3 children. Bennett, who also was murdered, had reportedly taken out a restraining order against Kermison, who had on more than one occasion warned Hamilton to end the relationship. with Bennett. David Taylor, aka Wickerman, who captained Barkey, recorded some of his hits with, told Jamaica radio host Raga Shanti on his New York WVIP FM that he also had been warning Barkey to cut ties with Bennett because Turnizan was a serious man. Kurdistan, had already broadsided their car on one occasion. Barkey never listened to me, Wickerman said. The man wanted to kill the woman for a long time, but he waited until he could get them together before he acted, Wickerman said.
The truth is, the real truth, Barkey nah take this so serious. Him never expect say, a man that really go so far.
Delus.
Well, I bet them, I don't really want to call my full name. I'm my name Delmark. You can't, sound good every man I call you. Yo, Delmark, long. So then I shorten it and say Delus. I just work with it. I like it, I'm my name.
Delus, whose real name was Delmark Spence, was the older brother of dancehall artist Conscience. The 35-year-old recording artist Delus was confirmed to have taken his own life at his Havendale St. Andrew home on June 22, 2016. Police investigators disclosed that just before 7 in the evening, Delus sent a video to a female indicating that he was about to take his life, and by the time she got to his home, he was already deceased. Additionally, he seemed to have recorded the incident. Delus got a break on the entertainment scene in 2005 with a single called Pandakana, which he did with his brother. After deciding to pursue solo careers, Delus and Conscience went their separate ways. Delus collaborated with artists locally as well as internationally, including collaborations with Vybz Kartel, Movado, and Bounty Killer. This helped to expand his reach and pushed his music to a much broader audience. Despite his achievements, Delus had personal challenges including mental health issues. These struggles frequently appeared in his music, bringing depth and realism. He was very upfront about his issues, utilizing his platform to promote mental health awareness and to encourage others to seek treatment when necessary. His brother Conscience later disclosed that it seemed to him that Delus had been dealing with depression for many years. After his death in 2016, the music video for his song Gone Too Soon was released.
So how did you fall into music?
Delus, rest in peace. Just basically growing up, he was my older brother, and whatever he did, that's what I wanted to do.
Louis Rankin.
Rascal.
Leonard Ford, aka Louis Rankin, was born in 1953 in the parish of St. Thomas. He is known professionally as a dancehall reggae artist and actor, appearing in films such as Belly and Shutters. Ford grew up in Rockforth and neighboring East Kingston, and was introduced to the dancehall scene and was dabbling with performing at school. His first notable experience of performing was on Jack Ruby's sound system, and went on to do his first recordings, Up and Down and Itafaram, for Showa Posse leader Vivian Blake's Clay Pot Records in New York. His most successful song, however, is Typewriter. This was released in 1992, and in the song Rankin referred to himself in his lyrics as the original Dan Dada, a term used by many of his dancehall competitors, such as Supercat. This would be something he would take into acting roles as a Jamaican gangster in the movies Shutters and Belly. He lived in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and on the 30th of September 2019, he died in a car accident on Highway 89 near Shelburne, Ontario. He lived in Hanover, Ontario at the time of his death and had been a long-time resident of Canada. Rankin Trevor.
I learned my music from in the days of King Tubbys and Tipper Tone.
Rankin Trevor was born Maxwell Grant on January 20, 1960, and began his recording career at 15 years old. He DJ'd on the Socialist Roots sound system and also recorded at Channel 1 in the mid-1970s. His first release was Natty a Rootsman. He had success in 1977 with singles such as Caveman Skank and Three-Piece Chicken and Chips, a response to Trinity's three-piece suit, which were popular among British reggae fans. And these were followed by further hits on the British reggae charts in 1978 with Pure and Clean and Rubber Dub Style. And he signed a record deal with Virgin Records record label Frontline, who released his debut album In Fine Style. He died on 7th of August 2012 from injuries sustained from a collision on Olympic Way while riding his motorcycle in Kingston. He had a collision with a car that threw him off his motorcycle, and as he was lying on the ground, a second vehicle ran over him. Trevor's fatal incident occurred just 9 days after Brooklyn-based Jamaican Sing J, Sluggy Ranks, lost his life also in a vehicle crash at the age of 44 in Kingston. Major Worries. Major Worries was born Wayne Jones in 1966 and was a sound system DJ. He would regularly be featured on King Jammy's sound system and went on to record his debut recording produced by King Jammy's. He went on to be recognized as the top DJ on King Jammy's sound system alongside Admiral Bailey. With Bailey and Chaka Demus in combination, Worries recorded the riotous Go-Go alongside No Touch It, Done Know No, and Done Move. On the DJ's posthumous album release, Major Worries had also recorded with Hugh James and Jack Scorpio, but he did not get to see the official release of these tracks, as his career was cut short due to the escalating violence that plagued Jamaica. Major Worries was shot to death in Spanish Town, Jamaica, by a Kingston policeman following his intervention in an argument between his friend and the cop. The policeman involved was sentenced to death by hanging 2 years after. General Echo. Earl Anthony Robinson, better known as General Echo, aka Rankin Slackness, was one of the first reggae DJs to move away from cultural lyrics towards what is known as slackness, which is risque or sexually explicit lyrics. It was one night that Echo was shot by police in Kingston, Jamaica in 1980, along with Selector Flux, who also worked on his Ecotone sound system, and Stereophonic owner Leon Big John Johns, after they had stopped the car that they were traveling in. The incident has never been satisfactorily explained, but it is understood that he had succumbed to his bullet wounds. However, this is not the artist that people are still today unsure about his cause of death. Jacob Miller.
Well, yeah. But it's the work of His Majesty for go along, you know.
Jacob Miller was another promising young artist. He was a Jamaican reggae artist and Rastafarian from Mandeville in Jamaica. He was also the lead singer of the band Inner Circle. Miller was also featured in the film Rockers alongside many other musicians including Gregory Isaacs, Big Youth, and Burning Spear. In March of 1980, Jacob Miller went with Bob Marley and Island Records co-founder Chris Blackwell to Brazil to celebrate Island opening new offices in South America. Not long after returning to Jamaica, on Sunday the 23rd of March 1980, Miller and one of his sons died in a car accident on Hope Road in Kingston. Jacob Miller and Inner Circle had been preparing for an American tour with Bob Marley and Wailers, and the next album, Mix Up Moods, was already recorded. Early B.
It was the year 1966. Until I see I made a vision. We say Rasta make the Babylon them look like rubbish, Lord. Thousands of people that I know the crowd.
Early B was born Orlando Arrington Neal on February 28, 1957. He was a prolific writer in Jamaican reggae and dancehall, known for his energetic style and unique vocal delivery. He started his musical career in the 1970s, performing on popular sound systems like Soul Imperial Hi-Fi, and later joined the famous Kilimanjaro sound system. Early B's rise to fame in the 1980s was marked by his hits such as Visit of King Selassie, History of Jamaica, and Wheelie Wheelie. His music, which combined socially conscious lyrics over heavy dancehall rhythms, resonated with audiences in Jamaica and internationally. Early B's influence extended beyond just music. He was also very instrumental in bringing Supercat to America, where Supercat would find fame, becoming a reggae dancehall superstar. Tragically, on September 11, 1994, Early B's promising career was cut short when he was shot and killed while performing at the Windsor Cricket Club in Dorchester, Massachusetts. Although there were rumors surrounding his death, the case was never solved, leaving fans and the reggae community to mourn the loss of a talented artist whose impact continues to be felt. Feel free to check out our video on the life, career, and death of Early B for a comprehensive overview of this legend. Video link in the description. Winston Riley. Winston Riley was born 14th of May 1943. He was a Jamaican singer and songwriter, also a record producer. The Jamaica Gleaner notes he was one of the most successful reggae producers. Born in Kingston, Jamaica, he formed a love and appreciation for reggae music. He would go on to form the band The Techniques in 1962 and recorded material with that group. He formed his own label in 1968 and produced records for several musicians, including Alton and Hortense Ellis and Johnny Osborne. Riley's own song, Double Barrel, performed by Dave and Ansel Collins under his own production, was one of the first international reggae hits, reaching number 1 in the Dutch and UK singles charts. His Stalag rhythm is the most sampled reggae song of all time. The rhythm was first released in 1973 as the instrumental Ansel Collins track Stalag 17, named after the World War II film of the same name. It reappeared as Stalag 18, Stalag 19, and Stalag 20 and Ring the Alarm Quick, and was the instrumental track to Tenor Saw's hit Ring the Alarm. He went on to launch the careers of Sister Nancy, Buju Banton, Cutty Ranks, Lone Ranger, and Frankie Paul. Unfortunately, on the 1st of November 2011, Winston was shot in the head at his home in Kingston. According to police, he had been the subject of several earlier attacks. Riley was not instantly killed, but was in a coma for almost 2 months until his death on the 19th of January 2012. Hugh Mundell.
Let our hands be pure and clean. Let our heart be pure and clean.
Hugh Mundell was born the 4th child and only boy to Alvin and Theresa Mundell. His father Alvin was a successful lawyer and Hugh would be well educated, attending St. Margaret's Preparatory School and Kingsway Prep School and also Arden High School before pursuing a career in music. Mundell grew up just houses away from 3 other youth who would also go on to become reggae singers: Winston McAnuff, Earl 16 Daly, and Yabby U protege Wayne Wade. Mundell was introduced to reggae by reggae performer and producer Boris Gardner, who was a friend of the family. Between 1976 and 1978, Mundell and Augustus Pablo laid the tracks for what would ultimately become Mundell's debut LP, Africa Must Be Free, by 1983. Produced by Augustus Pablo, Mundell wrote every song on the record. It included 2 Black Ark recorded tracks, Let's All Unite and Why Do Black Men Fuss and Fight, both supervised and mixed by Lee Scratch Perry. The album received 5 stars from Rolling Stones magazine and was included in Tom Moon's 2008 book, 1000 Recordings to Hear Before You Die. Mundell also forayed into producing. He was the first to produce then 13-year-old Junior Reid's first single, called Speak the Truth. Unfortunately, in 1983, Mundell was shot to death on the 14th of October while sitting in his vehicle along Grants Pen Road in St. Andrew. Also in the car were Mundell's wife in the passenger seat and Junior Reid, who was sitting in the back seat. Reid survived the assault and spoke to it in great detail in an interview in 1985 with The Beat's Roger Stephens. At the time of his death, Mundell had recorded 5 LPs and numerous singles. On Friday the 22nd of November 1985, 25-year-old Ricardo Codrington, a laborer of Above Rocks in St. Andrew, was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment at hard labor for the murder of Hugh Mundell. He was actually found guilty of manslaughter. He was charged with murder, but the jury convicted him of the lesser offense.
Hugh Mundell now is a virgin when us come to the era. You know, an ex-virgin came in the era. And coming to the era is like, you know, we used to smoke in the same yard. And he hear my voice and hear me at work. Hugh Mundell and Augustus probably have a session at King Tubbys Studio. And I have a few yards from King Tubbys Studio, so I'm saying come call me, go down there. My voice is on Speak the Truth. And start from there, so.
Once again, before we continue, we remind you to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to get videos as soon as they are released. Subscriptions are very important to the growth of the channel. Also, feel free to hit the like button if you are enjoying the content. There's a lot more to come for Jamaica Worldwide in the future, and we hope to see you there. Bless up. Sluggy Ranks.
I know, say, I didn't really come here to sing any song, you know, just come to take your friends them, because it's not everywhere you go, you hold the microphone and push up the song.
Sluggy Ranks was born Andrew Philip Gregory in the East Kingston community of Raytown on December 14, 1966. Ranks relocated to Brooklyn in 1981, and in 1984, he began recording for a Brooklyn-based label known as Jalife. He would also work with the Minimart High Power sound system and African Love sound system. He was known for cultural lyrics, which was different from the usual slack nature of lyrics in dancehall. According to his bio, he adopted the name Sluggy Ranks as a means of shooting the slugs of destruction, murder, and chaos with righteousness, unity, and forgiveness. In 1988, he worked with producer Whitfield Whitty Henry on the single 95% Black, 5% White, a commentary on the state of U.S. prison systems in America.
95% black and 5% white.
He went on to record several albums in the 1980s and 90s, including the Prince Jammies produced Get a Youth Bus in 1994. His single, Sodom and Gomorrah, recorded on the tempo rhythm, dealt with the confrontation between Supercat and Nitty Gritty at Count Shelley's record shop that led to Nitty Gritty's death. You can see a link to our video on the incident in the description below. In 1997, he contributed to the Easy Star album Easy Star Volume 1, and at the age of 44, He passed away on Sunday, July 29, in 2012 as a result of injuries he sustained in a car accident in the Stony Hill area of St. Andrew, Jamaica. According to news sources in Jamaica, the car in which Gregory was traveling swerved several times before crashing into a concrete light post. Gregory was taken to the Kingston Public Hospital, but it was too late for the Reggae Dancehall star. Patrick Samuels, aka Roach.
For you hear a bad rhythm, you know a bad rhythm. And you know a rhythm we can't take the market. We say we need that one. That's the thing we are going to shot. We have the ears.
Roach was a former manager of dancehall star Vybz Kartel. One of his most notable production is Emergency by Vybz Kartel, but he also had other successes with other projects, such as the Overproof Rhythm. Roach was reportedly shot multiple times at approximately 4 a.m. in the morning in the vicinity of a gas station at Mary Brown's Corner in St. Andrew. Sources with the police say that Patrick had tried to escape in his Chevrolet Avalanche. However, he had lost control and crashed on Mannings Hill Road. Rankin Toyan. Rankin Toyan was born Byron Everton Letts in 1955 in Kingston, Jamaica. Toyan began his career in 1974 DJing on several different sound systems, such as Socialist Roots and Romantic Hi-Fi, alongside Little John, who he would often travel and perform with on different sound systems.
Toyan and Little John, because me and him have the place, we have the place like, we run things in the whole Kingston 11.
He recorded his debut single, Disco Pants, in the late 1970s for producer Don Mace. He went on to work extensively with Joseph Hu Kim and Jai Thomas, resulting in a string of hits including Girls Nowadays, Kill No Man, John Tom, and Talk of the Town, as well as combination hits with the Mighty Diamonds, Badu, and Freddie McGregor. In 1981, he would join Henry Junjo Law's Volcano sound system and toured Canada. He would also go on to record the famous How the West Was Won album on Volcano label, which is regarded as his best work. After some time, he would start producing his own work, as well as others such as Billy Boyo and Anthony Johnson. Toyan also toured the United Kingdom with Jah Prophecy Band and would perform alongside Dennis Brown in Jamaica. In 1991, he was murdered in Jamaica, allegedly during a dispute over the ownership of a gun. On that specific day, he was in the company of Little John when people were calling him presumably to collect the weapon. Against the advice of Little John, he went to meet the person and it was later revealed that he was killed.
Me that tell Toyan say, because the man them come and I call him, and I tell Toyan say, make the man them come to you. You understand? But if him just listen to me.
Stuart Nelson.
When you turned and walked away, said I wouldn't beg you to stay, but I miss you.
Stuart Nelson was born May 5, 1972 and was an extremely rare talent with extraordinary maturity as a performer. Extraordinary because he was very young when his song I Miss You became very popular. He was also very young when he died. Nelson entered the popular Ver John's talent competition and easily gained favor with the audience, resulting in his winning the competition with his original song I Miss You. The song is widely interpreted as a love song, but was actually written by Nelson expressing that he missed his mother who was living in the United States. At some point, he was introduced to Tommy Cowan, who was known to be successful working with young talents such as Junior Tucker. He recorded the song I Miss You, which gained some traction locally and abroad. Stuart Nelson eventually left Jamaica in 1985 to live in the United States with his mother. On June 5, 1987, while his mother was on a visit to Jamaica for a funeral, Stuart would go on a trip during which Stuart met his demise. Stuart had drowned in a pool. It was said at the time of the drowning that the lifeguard, who was a white female, had refused to put her mouth on a black boy to give him CPR. An ambulance was called, but by the time they arrived, it was already too late. At just 15 years old, Nelson's untimely death shocked fans and the music community, leaving many to mourn the loss of a young talent with immense potential.
The lifeguard was a white girl. And she said she's not going to put her mouth on no black person.
Louis Lepkie.
Here come the most sophisticated move of them all. Seeing them move a shoot down every move. So second, right?
Louis Lepkie was born the 12th of August 1957. His first recording was Can't Take My Landlord. Can't Take My Landlord was released by Joe Gibbs under the JGM label. And Lepkie went on to record Late Night Movie, also for Joe Gibbs label. Then in 92, he cut the album Willie Red for the Hitbound label. He was a popular sound system DJ and was not bound to any specific sound system, but would perform with sounds such as Kingster Gav, Gemini, and most notably Volcano High Power, which was run by Henry Junjo Laws. Sometime during the 80s, like many other artists, Lepkie would relocate to New York and DJ on sound systems there also. It was in December of 1987, at the age of 30, that Louis Lepkie was murdered outside the Manhattan Dancehall Reggae Lounge. There was no information revealed regarding the circumstances of his death, but the attack is widely believed to be drug-related.
Me wake up Monday morning on the 11th of May. Me hear a news flash, me said around me there. And this was what they announced.
Henry Junjo Laws. Henry Laws was born in the Waterhouse district of Kingston, Jamaica, and grew up in and around its environs. Laws began working as a producer in the late 1970s, recording various reggae and dancehall acts such as Linval Thompson, Scientist, Toyan, Barrington Levy, Don Carlos, Frankie Paul, and most importantly with Yellowman, all for his record label, Volcano. He had got his first hit through Barrington Levy with the help of legendary studio engineer Hopeton Scientist Brown. The label spawned a highly popular sound system of the same name, Volcano High Power. He used the Roots Radics as his regular studio band. He eventually became the leading producer in Jamaica. Laws' string of hits came to a halt when he served a prison term in the United States after being convicted of drug-related charges in the mid-1980s. In the 90s, after his release, he tried to regain his spot as the top producer, working with notable acts such as Beenie Man and Barrington Levy. He was not successful in regaining the spot, but still got a few hits. Scientist believes that this was due to him no longer being a part of these later projects, having been the main studio engineer for most of the previous hits. On June 14, 1999, while Junjo was in northwest London, he was shot dead in a drive-by shooting in Harlesden. The case, however, remains unsolved, but Law's impact on reggae and dancehall in Jamaica is very extensive.
Tonight, some film show business and thing with Volcano. Nice and decent people have to come in and see them style and thing.
Oneil Edwards of Voicemail.
When you walk on the street, I mean, just the love where you get from the girls, them, the big people, them, the working class people, where you never see a dancehall show, the kids, them, the gangster, them, the bad man, them, all different type of people. You have different level of energy and say, yeah, with them, and that's where you do and stuff like that. I mean, it make you feel like when you're dead, you're going to be remembered by a lot of people with the work we have put, you know.
In 2004, a new dancehall group blasted onto the scene with their hit single, Weddy Time. The group's name was Voicemail, and the song featured Sluggy Ranks and famed dancing legend Bogle. The group consisted of Jerome Jackson, Kevin Blair, and one Oneil Edwards. The dancehall reggae singer and dancer Oneil Jason Charles Edwards was born on May 8, 1974 in Kingston, Jamaica, and was the son of artist and producer Rupee Edwards. After Weddy Time, they went on to put out a string of other hit songs such as She Want It Harder, Ready to Party, and Wacky Dip. Oneil played a very major role in the group, not only recording and performing, but he also administered the group's business. It was Oneil who made the deals and confirmed the bookings, planned the tours, coordinated the recordings, and thought through the promotions. The group was plunged into mourning as tragedy struck on the morning of May 9, 2010, when Oneil Edwards was shot at his home in Duane Park. After undergoing emergency surgery and fighting for 2 weeks, Oneil sadly succumbed to his injuries and passed away on May 26, leaving behind family, friends, and of course the remaining 2 group members who have been carrying on the Voicemail name.
It's still a group, you know, because Oneil is still here.
We're a group.
You know what I mean? We're just blessed right now to have our own angel in heaven looking down on us, you know, and watching over us. So it definitely will remain a group.
Merciless. In 2022, many dancehall fans were shocked when news circulated of the passing of Merciless, whose real name is Leonard Bartley. Merciless, who is from Clarendon, was known for numerous dancehall hits such as Let Them Have It, The Letter, Mavis, Girl Dem Gizada, and many others. His most noteworthy performance is, however, his Sting 2000 performance, where he is widely considered the winner in a clash against the likes of Ninja Man, Bounty Killer, and Beanie Man. In 2022, the 51-year-old Merciless was found unresponsive in a corporate-era guest house on Walker's Avenue.
I'm still right here with my people in Jamaica in dancehall.
Tabby Diamonds of the Mighty Diamonds.
To say, you know, say, the group Diamond, man. I just come same time and tell them, say, Diamond, the mother say, you know, and then I get. And so it's there.
So where the Mighty come from?
Channel 1.
The Mighty Diamonds were a Jamaican harmony trio, recording roots reggae with a strong Rastafarian influence. Formed in 1969 in the Trenchtown area of Kingston, the group comprised of lead vocalist Donald Tabby Shaw, harmony vocalist Fitzroy Bunny Simpson, and Lloyd Judge Ferguson. They had become friends at school in the mid-1960s and were originally called the Limelight, adopting Mighty Diamonds after Shaw's mother started referring to them as the Diamonds. With 53 years under their belt, they were the longest running group with all its original members. This, however, came to an end very abruptly in 2022 on March 29, when the life of lead singer Donald Tabby Shaw was unfortunately cut short in a brazen drive-by shooting. Unfortunately, 3 days later on April 1st, 2022, Fitzroy Bunny Simpson, who was battling sickness at the time of Tabby's death, sadly died shortly after he heard the news. Panhead. Anthony Johnson, also known as Panhead, was born in St. Mary in 1966. He worked for several years on the Love Vibration sound system and also the Black Scorpio sound system. He started DJing on sounds somewhere around 1985 and moved on to record his first single, Gimme Little Lovin', in 1988. He also had other releases such as Pony Printer and Gunman Tune. which were very popular in Jamaica. It was expected that he would become a major star. He performed with the likes of Buju Banton, Beenie Man, and Capleton, who were close friends to him. Unfortunately, Panhead would meet his demise sometime in October of 1993, as he was leaving a dance in Spanish Town and on his way home. His death would trigger a wave of songs in tribute to him, including Murderer by Buju Banton and Cold-Blooded Murderer by Capleton, both of which were very popular in Jamaica. DJ Roundhead pointed out that before his death, he was calling some youths that he was supporting to build a football team. The boys who were supposed to be at training were gone to see a politician that had visited the area.
He might do a thing I take care of some youth, come from the corner. The youth them supposed to do something. Him just see the youth them and do what him do, what them supposed to do. Because I'm like a football team, so like me, so well then, a politician they around this and the youth them around there. So him go around there and say, God, the train is supposed to train there with no politics. And me I buy on the boots and buy it, this time I do nothing for no. A football team I dealing no badness and nothing. And that team I try to draw the youth them for and tell the youth them say, really. See, which, how would the youth I try to fight the youth them from them I come with.
It is believed that this is the reason, or what led to the slaying. Just earlier that year, there was an election which saw the PNP winning by a landslide. At the time, politics was a very serious issue for Jamaicans, and it was generally understood that just saying the wrong thing to or about politicians could cause some very bad things to happen to you. Panhead's music lives on, and it seems he would have followed the change in music and culture with his friends Buju Banton and Capleton, who embraced Rastafarianism and started doing more cultural tunes. This is evident in one of Panhead's latest songs, African Princess, which is one of his greatest hits. Gerald Levy, aka Bogle.
See you them, look at them. The rarest kind. That's a black roses, yeah? All of me are water. I would just have
Gerald Levy, better known as Bogle, and also Bogle the Dancer, Mr. Bogle, Father Bogle, Mr. Wacky, was a Jamaican dancehall star and choreographer. Beenie Man hailed him as the greatest dancer of all time, and he is recognized as part of the foundation and as an icon of dancehall culture. Many dancers credit him as their influence and role model for their own career.
Him hold it up for it. Him make people respect we as dancers right now in the world, trust me.
He created many dance moves, best known also for his own dance, the Bogle dance. However, on the night of January 20, 2005, after getting into an altercation with Beenie Man and his entourage, Bogle and 4 others were in his car at a gas station when 2 men on a bicycle rode by, shooting into the vehicle. The passengers were rushed to Kingston Public Hospital, where the 40-year-old Bogle was pronounced dead. Of course, there were speculations about Beenie Man's involvement, but his name was cleared eventually, and Beenie Man himself offered a $1 million reward for the capture of the killers. The home of John Hype, who was considered a creative rival, was also burnt to the ground just hours later in the wake of Bogle's murder. Prince Farai. Prince Farai was born Michael James Williams in Spanish Town, Jamaica. He was one of the first artists to break out in the mainstream European market, second only to none other than Bob Marley. He was influenced by the sound system culture and would often perform as a DJ for sound systems around Kingston. He first recorded the song The Great Booga Wooga for Bunny Lee, but was not very successful at the time. Williams would often do jobs as a security guard and would end up working as a security guard for Joe Gibbs. While at Joe Gibbs, Cox and Dodd of Studio One approached him to come and work for him at the famous studio as a bouncer. Williams saw this as a perfect opportunity to further his music career, as Studio One was a bigger and more popular label. While at Studio One, he would often try to get a chance to record, and one day, When King Stitt failed to appear for a recording, Coxsone gave Farai the opportunity to do this recording. Coxsone was impressed with the recording and would do further recordings with him under the name King Cry Cry. King Cry Cry was a name he got, derived from his tendency to burst out in tears whenever he got angry. He would eventually leave Studio One, complaining of not being compensated sufficiently, and he started recording for Enos MacLeod at King Tubbys' studio. Enos is the one who suggested the change in his name to Prince Farai. He did the album Psalms for I, which he explained was for the illiterate who were not able to read the Bible for themselves. This album was critically acclaimed and gave him the footing in the music industry that he needed to launch out as a reggae star. He went on to work with Joe Gibbs for his second album, called Under Heavy Manners, which was even more successful. He would join up with a young producer by the name of Adrian Sherwood, who would organize very successful tours for him. As a result, he became very popular in Europe and had a string of hits, but eventually decided to move back home in 1983. While here, he linked up with producer Roy Cousins and was producing an album. It was while recording this album that his life was cut short. After recording about 6 tracks from his new album, he went home where he was attacked by assailants who came into his house and forced him and his wife onto the floor. While on the floor, Farai was shot multiple times and left for dead until eventually he bled out. Roy Cousins made remarks about the cause of his death and the circumstances leading to his murder, making assertions that a popular producer was involved. The murder went unsolved with no arrest made in the case, but Prince Farai's impact on the European market is still felt even today, as he remains a legend of reggae in his own right. King Tubbys.
Tubbys was a genius in recording with effects, you know. Tubbys was a man like that.
King Tubbys was born Osborne Ruddock on the 28th of January 1941 and was a reggae sound engineer who influenced the development of dub in the 1960s and 70s. Tubbys rose to fame due to his work as a mixing engineer and would go on to be influential across many genres of popular music. He is often cited as the inventor of the concept of the remix that later became ubiquitous with dance and electronic music production. King Tubbys' first interaction with the music industry came in the late 1950s with the rising popularity of Jamaican sound systems. As a talented radio repairman, Tubbys soon found himself in great demand by most of the major sound systems of Kingston. Tubby owned an electrical repair shop on Jamali Avenue that would fix television and radios. It was here that he built large amplifiers for the local sound systems. In 1961 to 62, he even built his own radio transmitter and briefly ran a pirate radio station, playing ska and rhythm and blues, which he soon shut down when he heard the police were looking for the perpetrators. Tubby eventually formed his own sound system, Tubby's Hometown Hi-Fi, in 1958, then moved on to open his own studio in Waterhouse in 1971. Tubby engineered and remixed songs for Jamaica's top producers such as Lee Perry, Bonnie Lee, Augustus Pablo, and Vivian Jackson, that featured artists such as Johnny Clark, Cornell Campbell, Linval Thompson, Horace Andy, and Delroy Wilson. King Tubbys was unfortunately fatally shot on February 6, 1989, outside his home in Duane Park, Kingston, upon returning from a session at his studio in Waterhouse. Before we continue, please remember to go ahead and like the video. Also, subscribe to the channel. You can also hit the notification bell to get videos as soon as they are released. You can find other ways to support the channel in the description below. Dirtsman.
Yes, Coleman, whole time, man. Yo, son, and I saw it years, man. Turkey digital scene. Come kill him.
Patrick Thompson, more popularly known as dancehall artist Dirtsman, was born in Spanish Town on March 4, 1965. He was the son of the owner of the Black Universal sound system, which would play around Spanish Town, and that is where he would start learning about dancehall music. The family was also one rooted in dancehall. His brother, Papa San, also became very big in the dancehall arena, and he also has one other brother, his youngest brother, musician Maurice Gregory. Although Dirtsman launched his career in his father's company, he later switched to the Willowdene-based Creation Rock Tower system. He was a determined young man and eventually made a name for himself with his biggest hits, Thank You, produced by Steely and Clevie, and Hot This Year, produced by New York producer Philip Smart. Dirtsman had even signed a contract with BMG, but his career was cut short on 21st of December 1993 when he was pounced upon by 4 gunmen who shot him multiple times at his gate. There are stories that allege that a Spanish Town gang were involved in the killing. At the time, it was a public understanding that gangs were aligned with political parties. It is believed that the tension originated from the brothers being from an area dominated by one party and now having moved to an area dominated by the other. Them being artists, it was thought that they were getting too influential. This is a story surrounding his death, which was also alluded to by his brother Papa San.
Politics in Jamaica is easy, you know. And just to get money, if you make money, man, do things, you know. And so we find a whole man get wiped out that kind of a way. They want territory, they want control turf, they want to have money running for them, and so they have to get rid of a certain man out of the area if you have that control.
Tenor Saw.
How old are you?
19.
You're 19, and your voice is really strong, because I expected somebody older. I expected somebody around about 30.
Yeah, everybody was saying first. Them always say that. So my voice older than me, my voice bigger than me, but you know, I just have a mature tone, you know what I mean?
Tenor Saw was one of the youngest rising stars in dancehall at the time. It was in 1985 that Tenor Saw would get his first big hit with the song Pumpkin Belly on the Slang Tang rhythm. That same year, he would record arguably his biggest hit, Ring the Alarm, on the Stalag 17 rhythm. Tenor Saw was in demand and riding high on the success of his recent releases. America Was Calling and Saw answered. His success would, however, be short-lived, as in August 1988, he was killed by a motor vehicle in Houston, Texas, with the official cause of death determined as a case of hit-and-run accident. However, other sources insist that he was murdered. He died at the age of 21 years old. Strangely, on October 26, 1988, the local newspaper, that is Jamaica Gleaner, in Jamaica reported that Saw had been shot and killed in New York City. By this time, Tenor Saw would have been dead for about 2 months. Over the years, many rumors have circulated as to the cause of Saw's death. The most popular is that he was a victim of a hit-and-run driver. Others believe he was swindled and then murdered. Some say he was involved in drugs and that his murder was drug-related. There are those who think he owed the wrong people money for a show and was killed because he took the advance but never performed. Another story said he was murdered by promoters who didn't want to pay him for a show. Probably the saddest and most cautious rumor is that he was killed by his friends and his show money was stolen. Due to the mix-up in reported cases, even to this day, his family are not sure of the circumstances which surrounded his death in 1988.
I like how Jamaican girl them dancing.
Licky Dube.
People don't know about, something that will come to them as something new, that will make them listen to me. And so it was only possible through reggae, because no one was doing reggae in South Africa before I started.
Licky Dube was a legendary South African reggae musician, known for his powerful voice and introspective lyrics that address social and political issues. Born August 3, 1964, in Ermelo, South Africa, his mother named him Lucky because she considered his birth fortunate, as he came after a number of failed pregnancies. Dube initially performed in a variety of genres, including Bakanga, a popular South African style of music. However, it was reggae that truly resonated with him, as he was seeking a different sound to stand out from all the others, so he could get his message across. He began to incorporate reggae in his music in the 1980s. His breakthrough came in 1989, however, with the release of his album Rastafari, which brought him widespread recognition. Dube's music was characterized by its strong messages of unity, peace, and social justice. He used reggae as a platform to advocate for human rights, an end to apartheid, and unity among people of different races and backgrounds. Some of his best known hits include Prisoner, Different Colors, It's Not Easy, and I've Got You. He gained international acclaim, touring around the world and earning a massive fan base in countries far beyond South Africa. Despite facing challenges, including censorship in apartheid-era South Africa, Dube's music continued to inspire and educate people worldwide. His contributions to the global reggae scene earned him several awards, including multiple South African Music Awards. Tragically, Licky Dube's life was cut short on October 18, 2007, when he was shot and killed during a car hijacking in Rosettenville, a suburb of Johannesburg in South Africa. Dube was with his 7 children when the incident occurred. He was fatally wounded after attempting to protect his children from the hijackers. His death shocked the world, as Dube was not only a musical icon, but also a beloved figure known for his compassion and advocacy for peace. His untimely passing left a void in the world of music and in the hearts of his fans. He remains a symbol of South African reggae and an icon in African music history. Garnet Silk.
You see, I'm here to teach and comfort people.
Born Garnet Damian Smith, 2nd of April 1966, Garnet Silk was known for his emotive, powerful, and smooth voice. During the early 90s, he was hailed as a rising talent. However, his career was ended by his early death in 1994. At the time of his death, he was just signed to a major label. And having just recorded about 10 songs for his new album, he went home to visit his mother. Silk had borrowed a pair of guns from his attorney after his home had been burglarized, but he had no idea how to use them. Sitting with a couple of friends at his mother's house in Mandeville, Jamaica on December 9th, one offered to show him how it worked, and at some point, the gun misfired. Shotgun pellets hit a 25-pound gas cylinder in the house near the town of Mandeville, causing the blast and subsequent fire to the entire house. It is said that Garnet was safely out of the house and then realized that his mother was still inside and went inside to attempt saving his mother. However, unfortunately, they had both perished in the blaze. 3 others were injured at this time. Garnet Silk was 28 years old.
I'm gonna say, music is the rod and we are Moses, leading God's children to the promised land.
Before we continue to number 1, kindly take the time to ensure that you are subscribed to the channel and also hit the like button and hit the notification bell to ensure that you receive videos as soon as they are released. Peter Tosh.
It's not where you are, it's who you are to get the inspiration, because if the mind is pure, inspiration comes anywhere.
Peter Tosh, a former founding member of the world-renowned group The Wailers, had by this time embarked on his solo career. On September 11, 1987, just after Tosh had returned to his home in Jamaica, a three-man gang came to his house on motorcycles demanding money. Tosh replied that he did not have any with him, and they did not believe him. They stayed at his residence for several hours and tortured Tosh in an attempt to extort money from him. Over the hours, as various associates of Tosh arrived to visit him, they were also taken hostage by the gunmen. The gunmen became more and more frustrated, especially chief of them, Dennis Lepo Laban, a man who Peter Tosh had previously befriended and helped to find work after a long jail sentence. Tosh said he did not have any money in the house, after which Laban and his fellow gunmen began opening fire in a reckless manner. Tosh was shot twice in the head and killed. Herbalist Wilson, that's Doc Brown, and disc jockey Jeff Free-Eye Dixon also died as a result of wounds sustained during the robbery. Several others in the house were wounded, including Tosh's common-law wife, Marlene Brown, Free-Eye's wife, Yvonne, Tosh's drummer, Carlton Santa Davis, and musician Michael Robinson. According to Police Commissioner Herman Ricketts, Dennis surrendered and two other men were interrogated but not publicly named. Laban went on to plead innocent during his trial, telling the court he had been drinking with friends. The trial was held in a closed court due to the involvement of illegal firearms. Laban was ultimately found guilty by a jury of 8 women and 4 men and sentenced to death by hanging. However, his sentence was commuted in 1995. Is there anyone you believe should be on this list? Also, let us know your favorite song from your favorite artist on this list. Bless up and live good. This is Jamaica Worldwide.
Look, they are a murderer. I'm here to be around Jamaica sing. Look, I'm your love Panhead, let me hear you. I'm your love Dirtsman, let me hear you. I'm your love Panhead, I want to hear you. I'm your love Dirtsman, let me hear you. Yes, I'm going to please you.